Hare Krishna, Nidhi Prabhu.
Kṛṣna Prabhu, Dandavats.
Dandavat, Prabhu.
I'm very happy to hear you're doing so much. Hare Krishna. Sri Radha Gokulananda ki jai. Let's start with prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmitam Yena Nama Om Krishna Padaya Krishna Preshchaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinam Namaste Saraswati Devya Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So yesterday we have seen Srila Prabhupada Jai. We have seen chapter 2 part 1. To go to chapter 2 part 2, let's first start with understanding of Gita. Rama Gopinath Prabhu, would you like to read this?
Yeah, Prabhu, understanding of Gita. The speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Sri Krishna. He mentioned on every page of Bhagavad Gita as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. Of course, the word Bhagavan sometimes refers to any powerful person or any powerful demigod. And certainly here Bhagavan designates Lord Sri Krishna as a great personality, but at the same time we should know that Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as is confirmed by all great acharyas, spiritual masters, like Sankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarka Swami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and many other authorities of Vedic knowledge in India. The Lord himself also establishes himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Bhagavad Gita, and he is accepted as such in the Brahma Samhita and all the Puranas, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Bhagavata Purana. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Therefore, we should take Bhagavad Gita as it is directed by the personality of Godhead himself. Hare Krishna.
Right. Thank you, Prabhu. So we are seeing that how the one who is giving the knowledge here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead that everyone agrees. That the Acharyas agree, even he has said, we have seen that. So we should take it as it is told by Krishna himself. Some people who don't understand it, they think that they say that this is spoken by the person inside Krishna. There's nothing like a person inside Krishna. It's Krishna himself, and who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we should take it as it is given by him itself. Let's move. And this is from Introduction to Bhagavad Gita. So today we are doing the part 2. So we have seen yesterday, last day, Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga we saw was analytical study, descriptive knowledge of the soul and body. And this week, today we will see Buddhi Yoga, which is work in Kṛṣṇa consciousness in the full bliss and knowledge of devotional service. Same way, Krishna explains 2 different ways. First Sankhya Yoga way and next Buddhi Yoga way. So Sankhya Yoga, we have seen something. Anyone would like to remember what we have seen yesterday? Just for pulling up ourselves.
It begins with the indecision of Arjun.
Correct.
Begins with the indecision and then recapping the reasons not to fight, and followed by the instructions of Bhagavan.
Correct. What is the first instruction the Lord gave? Anyone would like to?
You grieving of what is not worth of.
Okay. Yeah, that is when he says that, yeah. He says, you're speaking like Anna, yeah. And then he comes up to the fact wherein he says that he speaks about a particular concept,
Yes.
that the concept of eternity. He says, never was a time when I did not, you did not, nor the kings did not exist, you know.
Yeah.
Speaks of eternity, and then he comes and speaks about soul.
Yeah.
He says that you should do it in the soul platform.
Yeah.
So, which all reasons have we completed by now? Krishna has answered two of the reasons
Yeah.
of Arjuna. Arjuna had 5 reasons for not fighting, and out of 5 reasons for not fighting, one is indecision. Leave that. Out of 4 reasons, till yesterday by Sankhya Yoga, he has defeated 2 of them.
Yeah.
They are reason number 1 was compassion.
Yeah.
Did he defeat that? Anyone would like to?
Yes, Prabhu. Compassion, that's because of body consciousness.
Correct, correct. So he said you have to have anyway the body will leave.
Yeah.
So he used the 2.22 Vasamsi Jirnani. Your body is like
Yeah.
like
Dress.
changing dresses.
Yes.
Yeah. And second one was what was the second reason he defeated? Prabhu Ramagopinath, you're on mute if you're talking.
The enjoyment of
Correct. Enjoyment.
Yes.
Just check this with the, I know you all know, but I'm just saying you so that you can also check it with the people, you know, enjoyment. And how did Krishna break that?
Yes.
Krishna broke that by stating that you are anyway, even if you win or you lose, if you
Yeah.
lose, you will die. If you die, you will go to heavenly kingdom.
Yeah.
And if you win, you will win the place and then you will be the king here.
Yes.
The places you will enjoy. Don't say that you will not enjoy. If you do your prescribed duty, you will enjoy, whether you win or lose. But if you don't fight, then there will be, you will gain infamy. So Krishna has specifically almost answered 2 questions. Now to further see what it is, you know. So Krishna is now speaking. We'll request Govinda Prabhu, can you read this?
Okay, Prabhu. Bhagavad Gita 2.39. Esa te vihita sankye buddhi yogetti mam sruno buddhaya yukto yaya pata karma bandham prahashyasi. Lord Krishna said, thus far I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Buddha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works.
Yeah. So this is very interesting. See, Krishna is saying, so far I have explained through you through analytical studies, right? So analytical studies, Sankhya Yoga, which we saw. Now he's saying Buddhi Yoga. Now I'm going to explain to you in Buddhi Yoga. Explain in terms of Buddhi Yoga. And Krishna is, and Prabhupada is translating that as working without fruitive results. When you work with some results. But Krishna is saying working without fruitive results. Or something like a Kama Yoga, Niskama Kama Yoga towards Bhakti, you know. He's saying about that. And he's saying when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. That means if you work like this, you will not get any sin.
Yeah.
So Arjuna's third reason was, Arjuna was very afraid that he will get sins.
Yes.
And Krishna is saying here, if you work in such knowledge, you can free yourself from sins. You will not have bondage. So Krishna has, in fact, even before starting Buddhi Yoga, Kṛṣṇa is saying if you follow this path, like what I'm saying, you will be relieved of your bondage. See here, bondage of works is sins only. So he's saying you will be relieved of your bondage of works. So he's defeating the third argument also, right? Let's see how he starts speaking about this. And this is how he does that. Let's hear from someone. Goparaj Prabhu, can you read? Okay, maybe.
Yes, Prabhu, sure. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 40. Neha vikrama nasosti pradhyaya vayona vidyate swalpam api hasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayan. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. So he's saying, and this is he's going now in Buddhi Yoga part, and he's saying if you're doing any spiritual activity, there is no loss. You see the photo of loss, no loss at all. And the second thing is, it will not diminish and it will not even end, it will not come down. And a little advancement on this means if you make little advancement, will protect us from dangerous type of fear. What is the most dangerous type of fear?
Taking a body of an animal.
Correct, Prabhu. Take the body of an animal. Let me say that if you do little also, trayate mahato bhayat. Even if you do little bit, swalpam. Swalpam is little, And if you do little, you can be protected from the most dangerous type of fear of getting an animal. So we don't have any loss or diminution in this. Rather, we have only gain. We'll get at least a human body where we can get together and read Bhagavad Gita together, How nice it is. We are all at different parts, but we are studying Bhagavad Gita together. It is very difficult for anyone else, And this is the very beauty part of it. What do we see here? Let's ask Kavini Mai Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, can you just repeat what you want me to do, Prabhu?
I want you to find the difference here, Prabhu. What is here? What do you understand from this?
Oh, I see. I was doing some puja work here. 1 minute.
Oh, then you continue. You are doing the next slide, Prabhu. This is the first slide.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So if we see here, there is someone who is having his degree this life. But he may have got a PhD, this life. Like our Govinda Gaura Prabhu now, he's Dr. Govinda Gaura Prabhu actually. But in material life, even if you get a degree now, a PhD degree, next life, you will still have to go to kindergarten.
Yes.
You cannot continue with your material qualification. So material qualification does not continue in next life. There is diminution. There is loss. Whatever qualification you got, next life you have to start from zero only. But that is not the case with spiritual life. Spiritual life, if you practice this, no loss, diminution. Next life you'll continue. That's why we see some of these kids, they are pretty smart. Like when we Kṛṣṇa Consciousness, like we came very late, but some of them are born in families of devotees. They know so much. They start off, they touch the karatal as if they have just taken it up from last life. They play so nice music, and they sing the Lord's name, they know. So this means spiritual life is continuing in the next life from where it was left. No loss, no diminution. Whereas in the previous one, there was loss or diminution, right? Krishna is further continuing, on giving more about the spiritual knowledge, means about Buddhi Yoga. So he's saying a very important thing. Let us hear. Sasimukhi Maji, you are not driving today. Would you like to read? only if it's comfortable.
Sorry, Prabhu. I am actually driving. I just forgot to
Oh, you're
write.
driving. Okay,
Right.
sorry.
Yeah, one
You know,
second.
you usually
That's
write,
fine.
so that's why.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
No problem, Mataji. We'll know. Krishna Gopal Prabhu, would you like to read this?
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, I will.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yavan artha udapane sarvata sampluto dake tavan sarvesu vedesu brahmanasya vijanata. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. Vedas cha sarve aham eva vedyo. This is taken from 15:15. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So Krishna very nicely saying, Yavan Artha Udapani. So like there are 4 wells, we have just tried to put that. Whatever water is there, whatever, how many or people it will affect, it will serve, they can be served by a great reservoir of water. Whatever you get in small stores, everything can be got from a big giant or a big Tesco, you know. It's a big thing, you can just get it. Similarly, all the purpose of Vedas can be served if you know the purpose of Vedas. And what is the purpose of Vedas? Krishna has elsewhere said, right? We have read in level 1, the Vedas to sarve rahameva vedyo. So he says that by all Vedas I am to be known. So the purpose of Vedas is to know Krishna only. So if you want to know Krishna, you just work for Krishna, then it is perfectly fine. But if you're learning all the Vedas and you're not serving Krishna, then no problem, no value at all, you know. Like we have taken this specimen copies, just to say, there is a 1 ringgit, 5 ringgit, 10 ringgit, 20 and 50 and 100. So if you take the 100 ringgit, in that the value of all the other ringgits is there already, you know. You don't have to specifically again try out. Similarly, by doing Kṛṣṇa conscious activities, you already get that, you know. And what is the best thing you get? Srila Prabhupada writes, the revival of Kṛṣṇa consciousness by the individual living entity is the highest perfectional stage of Vedic knowledge. So by all Vedas, what is the purpose of Vedas? Prabhupada writes, to revive our Kṛṣṇa consciousness. To revive, what is our Kṛṣṇa consciousness? To revive our relationship with Krishna. That is the most important thing which can be done. So that means we should be serving Krishna. Krishna is further continuing. And Krishna is saying, okay, now that you have this knowledge, you found that if you do work for me, you will not be getting any sin. And then you should know that by serving me, everything else is served, you know. So now Krishna is giving some other thing, how to work. Krishna is saying that, right? So let's hear. Satyanand Prabhu, you're driving, eh?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Okay. Anyone else who is not driving would like to read?
Karmani eva adhikaraste ma phalesu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur ma te sangotu akarmani. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty.
Right. So Krishna is now trying to explain Arjuna that he has to perform his prescribed duties. No matter what, he has to do his prescribed duties. So Krishna is saying that now that you know that you have to work for me, so everything is to satisfy me. You should know that, don't consider, you have to do your duty. When you're doing your duty, you don't have a entitlement to the fruits of action. Like Like anyone who writes an exam, how much marks he will get in the exam, that is not on him, right? He doesn't know what action, what result he's going to get. That is not in his hand. But since that is not in his hand, still you should not be attached to not doing your duty. As many people will say, anyway, whatever I do, the result is, Kṛṣna only has said, Kṛṣna has said, you have a right to perform your duty, but you're not entitled to the fruit of action. So because Kṛṣna has said that, that's why I'm not working. So what's the use of working? Only if I, they take the first two lines. They say, karmanya vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. So they say, anyway, I do also, I will not get fruits. But they forget that Kṛṣna has said after that, Kṛṣna has said, after knowing this, don't be attached to not doing your duty. Yes, I am supposed to be. You are not the result of your activities. There are so many other things which we will see, so many factors which are the cause which will help us in the result of activities. But don't be attached to not doing your duty. Kṛṣna has always stressed that not to be attached to not doing our duty. You have to do either your material or your spiritual duty. You have to do, or both of them, but you have to do. Not be attached to not doing your duty, So Kṛṣna has very categorically said this, And then Kṛṣna says, okay, now that you know, how should you perform your duty? Yes. Patitatana Prabhu, I think you can read that, right?
Shortly, Prabhu, because I'm going to park the car.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe the next verse, yes.
Sure.
I can do, Prabhu, don't worry.
Okay, Kavinimai Prabhu, go ahead, please.
Yogastair kuru karmani sangam yaktva dhananjaya siddhi asiddhaya samabhagva samatvam yoga uchyate. Perform your duty equipoise. O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure, such equanimity is called yoga. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Kavinimai Prabhu. So, Krishna then said, you have to work for me. Then Krishna is saying, now you see, Krishna is saying that don't be attached to not doing your duty. You do your duty. And then he's further continuing. He's saying, perform your duty. Don't worry whether you will win or not win. He has already explained that. We saw in 2.37 how he defeated, right? Now he's saying you should perform. Don't be attached that whether you will succeed or failure. Just do the duty. Equipoise, you should do the duty. This is what is called yoga. So Krishna is further continuing on that. And when you do with such an activity, such a heart, right, that you're just doing the duty, not for your satisfaction, for Krishna's satisfaction, not be attaching to the success or failures, then it's fine. What is abominable activity means you're doing it for yourself. And Krishna is giving a glimpse of that. Krishna is saying, Durena hi avaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanam anvicha kripana falahetava. Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. How clear can Krishna be? Krishna is saying, don't be, some people are attached to success, failures, they're doing it for themselves. So Krishna is saying, don't do that. Don't be doing that abominable activities. Don't enjoy the fruit of your work. You do that work for my satisfaction. If you enjoy fruit of your work, you are kripanaha, you are miser. Krishna is saying, how will you keep this abominable? Abominable, you understand, right? This bad thought, right? So Krishna is saying, how will you keep that? Keep this far distant by devotional service. That means you do it for me. Devotional service is nothing but doing it for Krishna. Buddhi Yoga, Buddhau Sharanam Anvicha, Buddhau Yoga. Buddhi Yoga is now becoming like Bhakti Yoga. Krishna is bringing out here. Saying that, do it for me. So like here we are seeing some doctors are doing their duty in Bhaktivedanta hospital. They're doing it as a service to Krishna. We saw now some videos where the Bhaktivedanta hospital in the pandemic time in the ICU, the doctor is doing kirtan and everyone is
Yeah.
Yeah.
participating.
Yeah, we
So
saw.
they're doing devotional service. Means, of course, their work itself is devotional service, but they are also doing. You can do anything. You can go and do agriculture, or you can do even teaching the students, or you can do any work for that matter. But don't want to enjoy the fruits of your work. You have to try to do it as a matter of fact, as devotional service, right? So these are some of the results of fruitive activities versus Buddhi Yoga, which we have seen. A small comparison, which we saw. So first is in fruitive activities, what is the thing? Patitana Prabhu, yes, I know you are ready.
You want me to read all this, Prabhu?
Yes, can you, Prabhu, please?
Can. Fruitive activities, loss or diminution of the result, and work in Kṛṣṇa Consciousness, no loss of or diminution in the results. That's 2.4. Incur sin, does not incur sin. Refutation for fear of sinful reactions, argument. Does not get rid of good and bad reaction. Gets rid of good and bad reaction. That's 2.5. No guarantee of human life in the next birth. One is sure to be born in as a human being, either in the family of the cultured Brahmana or rich aristocratic family. Intelligence is not fixed. Intelligence is fixed and resolute. No peace and no happiness. Results in peace and happiness. Results in entanglement. Results in liberation. Entangles one to work. Free one from bondage of work. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, this is just from a combination of all these slokas we just picked up to see how different is Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga is nothing but working for Krishna, right? That's what we saw. So how different it is, So we see incurring sin. If you do any other activity, you will incur some sin, knowingly and unknowingly. But if you do work in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, no sin. And everything else is so clear. By doing this, Swalpam apyasya, right? Trayate mahato bhayat. You are destined, you're sure to be born as a human being. And we have seen that, right? We have seen that when Arjuna asks in Sankhya Yoga chapter, supposing a yogic is not successful, what will happen? And Krishna is very categorically said, right? He will take birth in the family of a Brahmana or rich aristocratic family, right? And does not get rid of good and bad reactions. Here you will get rid. Here you will be totally in the Lord's service, And this will result also in liberation and will free from bondage of work. Nothing can bind us. So this very clear categorically states that Buddhi Yoga is better than fruitive activities, right? So after hearing all of these, Arjuna then asks a very important thing. Arjuna says, okay, now I understand that I should work in Buddhi Yoga. So first he explained Sankhya Yoga, then he explained the value of Buddhi Yoga. And then now Arjuna said, okay, now you explain to me Buddhi Yoga, tell me how I know which person is in Buddhi Yoga. See, you cannot know a devotee just by seeing the devotee, you should know how he is or she is. Or when a Buddhi Yogi is. Arjuna is asking that only. Let us hear that. Right? Yeah. We'll request Govinda Gaura Prabhu to read this, please.
Bhagavad Gita 2.54. Arjuna uvacha sthita prajnasya kabasa samadhistasya kesava sthitadi kim prabhasita kim asita vrjeta kim. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk?
So Arjuna is basically asking, who is in Buddhi Yoga, how do we know that? And Krishna goes on to explain about that. So we will see what is the symptoms, how is he speaking, language, sitting, How is he speaking? How is he sitting? How is he walking? What does that mean? Also, we will see that, you know. So first, what is his symptom? His symptom is nothing but he has given a material desire by complete engagement in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. He's completely engaged in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So for him, there is no material desire, but everything, it's not that he's become a sannyasi or something. He could even be even in any ashrama, but he's given a material desire by engagement in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. He's totally engaged. Like we have the super example of Ambarish Maharaj, which we have seen. You can maybe recollect and make them look like that. And why did he do that? Because Ambarish was totally engaged in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And because he was completely, because he was engaged in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, that's why he didn't have material desire. His only desire was to serve the devotees and Kṛṣṇa. And that's why when Durvasa Muni tried to curse him, in fact, it boomeranged on Durvasa, and Durvasa had to come and fall at the feet of Ambarish itself, right? So that is, he's completely engaged. So the symptoms of a bhakti yogi or a buddhi yogi is they are totally engaged in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Then the next one is, how does he speak? Let us just hear this. Prabhu, want to read Ramagopinath Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. This question implies how the intelligence and words respond to affection, anger, and neutrality. Answer. Number 1, equipoised in happiness and distress, 2.56. Free from attachment, fear, and anger, that is 2.56. And unaffected by good and evil, and firmly fixed in perfect knowledge, 2.57.
Right. Give me 2 minutes, Prabhu. Just a minute.
So Zoom is a great advantage.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu's back.
Yes.
Sorry, Prabhu.
Yeah, so Krishna, see, we'll speak only in 3 times, you know. We'll speak when someone is happily saying something to us, we will respond to them. When
Yeah.
someone is angry to us, we will respond to them. Or in either case, either in neutral, we will respond to them. So when Arjuna is asking how does he speak, that means how is he responding? When someone is speaking in affection, or someone is speaking in anger, or someone is speaking, if I scold Ramagopinath Prabhu, how is he reacting? If I praise Ramagopinath Prabhu, how is he reacting? Or if I don't do either of them, how is he reacting? He will speak only on those 3 places, you know. And the answer is, Krishna is saying, that means in different, in the verses, you know, he says that the answer is he is equipoised. That means whether it be happy or anger, he will behave properly. He will speak in the same tone, you know. He's free from attachment, fear, and anger. So irrespective of whether he's angry or not, he's free from them. And is unaffected by good and evil and firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. So he's firmly fixed. He knows that what he has to do, and he accordingly does, because his intelligence is resolute. He knows that he has to serve Krishna. So irrespective of whatever condition he is in, he will serve Krishna. So he speaks always about values according to that. Similarly, the next was, how does he sit? When we say how does he sit, that means how is he restraining? This question implies how is he restraining his senses and mentality. So he's using, and the answer in 2.58 is, he's using his sense only for the service of Lord, and withdraws the senses when not required, like the tortoise. See, the tortoise, as soon as you go near it, I don't know if you all have seen that. So if you've seen that, he'll immediately pull its hand in and become like a shell, you know.
Yes.
So he's saying that based on higher taste, he can control his senses. So always in Krishna's service itself. Like that analogy is that of a tortoise and devotee. So how does he sit? That means he uses his senses for Krishna's service. Everything, all his senses can be used for Krishna's service. This is something which he says in 2.58. Then how does he walk? That means how does he walk? That is referring to how does he engage his senses. And the response is, he does it with regulation and religious principles. This is in 64 to 66. We have to take 64 to 71, in fact, totally, And here we also have about we following our Patiyatanava Prabhu was saying mind study and others. So how we fall trapped to that, we are attracted, and then we are delusion, and then our mind doesn't work, and then we really fall into the trap, So it's like every time he will do it with regulation and religious principle as a service to Krishna. And when he does that, everything is proper. Here we see the example of Vishwamitra. I couldn't get a good photo, but it's the story of Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra was actually a very big king, very, very big king. Vishwamitra had gone out, Vishwamitra had gone out to see all the places of his kingdom. So full soldiers, they were going across, And at that point of time, what happened was, Hare Krishna, drive safe, Prabhu. Yes. So what happened was, our Vishwamitra, he happened to go to Vasishtha Muni's ashram. So big ashram, he stayed there along with his people, and Vasishtha, like a cordial host, Vasishtha asked Vishwamitra that, how can I serve you all? So Vishwamitra thought that, okay, what will this fellow serve me? Because he is nothing with him. But anyway, he said, okay, you can give some food, means okay. He thought, okay, some way he will make some arrangement. He had 1 lakh person or some soldiers, a lot of soldiers was there. And Vasishtha immediately got them, okay, you all refresh and come, we will make it ready. They just came, they just thought that nothing will be there. When they came back, they had a menu which was never in his kingly lifestyle he had eaten that. The soldiers had never eaten such menu. There was a big buffet. Big buffet was there, and everyone started having that. And after having, and everyone pleased, Vishwamitra was very stunned. What is this? How is this possible that he could do? So he asks, how is this possible? So he says, no, I have, he figures out that he has a cow called Nandini, who is a Kamadhenu cow. You want, you can get from that, So he says that, okay, so he's doing that. Then Vishwamitra falls says, anyway, see, your kingdom is under, your hermitage is inside my kingdom. So everything that is yours is mine, because the king is the owner of all properties. So this cow is also mine, give it to me. And our Vasishtha didn't know what to do. Vasishtha knew what to do. Vasishtha he never went away from his regulation religious principles. He was always engaging his senses properly. So he said, okay, if Nandini then asked Vasishtha, you want me to go with them, is it? Vasishtha said, I didn't say you to go or not go. You decide what you want to do. It's your choice, you want to stay with me or not. Immediately, like Nandini had got all the items of food, now from Nandini, so many soldiers came out. It is mentioned that for every soldier of Vishwamitra, there were some hundreds of soldiers from the cow. So they bet blue and black, and Vishwamitra soldiers were defeated. Vishwamitra understood what's the power of a Vaishnava Brahman. Vishwamitra tried to pull the king, so he went away, and he went and he did tapasya to gain. He thought that no use of being a king, it's better to be a Brahmana. But again, he comes back. After he gains some things, again he comes back. He comes back, and at that time, his only means of doing tapasya is to be revengeful. His is not to please Krishna. His is to get energy. His is to get his tapasya is to get, is to ensure that he becomes more powerful than Vasishtha. This is again in the mode of passion. We have seen that in yajna, in the tapasya, in the penance, ostrich, the mode of passion, you know. So he gets that energy, he comes and again he uses that energy to burn Vasishtha's ashram and others. But then whatever it is, Vasishtha uses his staff and he stops Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra again understands, oh, again I'm not powerful. Again he goes for meditation. It is during that time that because his mind was not completely engaged, at that time he even, Indra is afraid that he's doing a lot of meditation, so Indra sends Menaka. So he falls trapped to Menaka also at that time. That means he was not using his senses properly. But then he realizes, oh, this is not proper. What I'm doing and what my thought is. Rather, my thing should be to serve Vishnu. And then he starts meditating. And then he becomes one of the important rishis. He becomes one of the important rishis. He becomes so much that Vishwamitra comes and asks Dasaratha for Rama and Lakshmana to follow him. And Vasishtha himself says, Dasaratha, give to Vishwamitra. And that's where Rama and Lakshmana go to kill the demons and they also get married. So that was by Vishwamitra. But what I'm saying is, when you know how you're engaging senses, not for your own sense gratification, like Vishwamitra, earlier Vishwamitra, but like the later Vishwamitra, with regulation and religious principles. So he engages in senses in pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So every way, he sits, he restrains his senses, he walks, he talks, he's equipped. So he gave all the answers he gave. After saying this, then Krishna says, Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Nayanam Prapya Vimuhyati Sthitvasya Mantra Kalepi Brahma Nirvanam Mrchati. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. So he says, he asked, no, how is the Sthita Prajna? He asked, that was the question, how do I know a devotee is transcendental? So he says that transcendental is, even at the time of death, he is not bewildered. Yesterday we had the one of the glorious sons of Prabhupada, his case Pankajangiri Prabhu, left his body. Sthita Prajna, not bewildered, situated, conscious properly at the time of death, means properly at the dham, surrounded by devotees, chanting the holy name. Not easy. It doesn't happen by chance.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen by chance. And Krishna is saying that if, and here the example we have of our Parikshit. Parikshit was cursed that 7 days he will die, But he learned Bhagavatam, he was totally not bewildered. So when the time of death came, even when Takshak came and firebird, he was not running. Oh, time has come, let me run, and hey, this fellow is coming, I can see, stop. Krishna, protect me. No, he was already bewildered. Okay, anyway, I have to go now, it's the time, let me go. Let me sit. He was occupied, he was thinking of the Lord, he was totally poised. So Krishna has given the example of that, And here is where, since we are learning about Bhagavatam, since we are learning about Parikshit, there is one question which Parikshit asked, Parikshit asked to Sukadev Goswami, Parikshit asked, you are the spiritual master of great saints and devotees. I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection for all persons, and especially for one who is about to die. So everyone is about to die, right? So he said, what is the show of perfection for all persons? And Sukadev Goswami said, the highest perfection of human life, you can achieve either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, that is by complete knowledge of matter and spirit means Sankhya Yoga. So highest perfection you can either achieve by Sankhya Yoga, by practice of mystic powers, that means by Ashtanga Yoga, or by perfect discharge of occupational duties. That means by Kama Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. So the highest perfection of human life is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. There's nothing else. Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 1st chapter, 6th verse. So nicely Sukadeva has said. And that can only happen when you are in Sthita-prajna. It does not matter when and how. So when you are in a devotee-like thing, you can do that. So that's why Krishna has explained that to Arjuna. And then said, now you fight. Now you fight. That's what it is. And so you can then say next week we are going to, next day we are going to study about Karma Yoga, tell them about the Gita kit and the temple, if any question answer. So today we have basically seen everything with regards to Buddhi Yoga. Krishna has said, no sins if you work for me. And then Krishna has explained how to work for him without not getting attached to results. He's given the, what you say, the values behind that. And also how to define a devotee. So after knowing this, people can know that, okay, how far I am from being a Sthita Prajna and how much I should work towards it. The whole point. And Krishna has very much said to Arjuna that don't be attached to whether you'll win or not win. See, till now, he has not shown his universal form. Till now, he has not shown that he is going to win. Till now, he has not done that. This is just the beginning, right, in the 2nd chapter. But he's making Arjuna understand that whatever you're doing, don't do it because you will win or you will lose or whatever it is. You do for me. That is Buddhi Yoga, you do for me. So he first explained with analogy, logical. Hey, this body anyway will change, your soul, etc., etc. That is Sankhya Yoga. But Buddhi Yoga is use your intelligence, work for me. Don't worry whether you'll win or not. Because I am saying you to fight, you fight. That is the highest principle. That is Buddhi Yoga. That's how he's ending. And then he's also giving the symptoms. Because Arjuna has asked, show me the symptoms. Right? We'll stop here. If you all have any questions, we can take that. It's an interesting one actually. If you take it up, do a little revision of first, second part 1 and second part 2. It'll be very nice. If they can understand this very nice concept, they'll become full. And please chant one round together with them because these are ready people. Sorry, Mataji, I think you wanted to say something.
Yes, I wanted to ask a question that a participant asked yesterday.
Yes.
When we were talking about the soul. Basically, his question is, well, you say that we change bodies within this life, then why is the soul, still in the same body? Like only at the end of life you actually change. The soul leaves the body.
Transmigrate.
Yes, it's transmigrate. Maybe I'm sure you would have answered him. If I were you, I would just take the example of the car and give him. I would say that, hello, you have your car, even in that car, you do a lot of maintenance. You add some new seats, you add something, or you sometimes paint it, you sometimes wash, all that you do,
Different color.
Huh?
Different color.
Yeah, different color.
Different color.
The seats are changed. You go for once again servicing everything, but you are the same one. But when after some 10 years, even though it is in thing, you want to change that car.
Too old.
It's too old. That's what it is. When the soul finds that this body is not proper. See, why does the soul need the body? The soul in itself is active. The body is active only because of the presence of soul. But in this material world, in order for it to do the activity, it needs a medium. When it finds that that medium is not capable enough of finding pleasure, then it will change. See, why do people go for this whatever beautification things or so many surgeries and others? Because they want to enjoy the practicalities of life. But when the soul finds that, okay, this body is not useless now, it's gone old, I have to find a new car in which I can drive to work, you know.
Yeah.
Find a new body.
Uh,
And it does not matter also that it only has to be at the end of life. Supposing I suffered an accident, the soul finds, okay, this body is not going to find a time. The soul can leave the body at that point of time.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Beautiful
I didn't
answer.
use the analogy of the car.
Yes, sure. Thank you. Yes,
I
Prabhu, you wanted to say something?
No, beautiful explanation.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Sasimukhi Mataji, you.
Well, I was just saying that I didn't use that example, but next time I will.
Yeah.
I just said that I was just saying that, well, the soul is changing bodies. It's growing, actually. The bodies are changing, if you notice, from when you were a baby to what you are now. But then when the time comes, it leaves the body and goes into another life. So I sort of like use the life kind of like an explanation.
Okay. That's fine, Mataji. The different ways of thinking. I just gave an analogy. It may be easier to understand, but
Yeah, it is.
yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. So we'll stop here and we'll catch up again tomorrow at same time, 7 a.m. Tomorrow will be third chapter, pretty interesting, Karma Yoga.
Yeah.
Until that, please take care and continue with your classes, and we'll start again tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavats.
Thank you,
Dandavats.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Dandavats
everyone.
pranam.
Dandavats.